Great. Okay, tonight is my talk on nutrition. Okay, nutrition basics for healthy humanity. I want to thank everybody who came out in the cold tonight because it is pretty cold. So, why would I do this talk? Well, first of all, this is an article that came out December of last year. It's called The Impact of 8 Lifestyle Factors on Mortality and Life Expectancy Among United States Veterans. And what they did is they looked at 8 factors that could actually make you live longer. And what they found was that nutrition, a whole food, healthy diet, lowered the risk of dying by 21%. That's pretty impactful, okay? 21%. So that's why we do this talk, because this is an incredibly important part of health. So let's get into it. Well, is this going to work? Okay. Some of the major questions we want to ask tonight. Does the body have the capacity to be well?
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay, it does. Does the body have the capacity to heal if it's not well?
Yes.
It does have the capacity to heal.
Yeah.
Now, there is a limitation of matter.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes if you have very advanced cancer or very advanced heart disease, sometimes it cannot heal. You've reached the limitation of matter, but for the most part, yes. So what exactly is sickness? What causes sickness and what causes what is health? So let's look at that. So if we look at health, health is like a 3-sided triangle. The base of the triangle, the most important, is structural neurological. That's the chiropractic part that I do in my office. You've got to have a good structural and neurological system in place working well. We also have biochemical, and we have spiritual and emotional. When these 3 sides of the triangle are balanced, then you have health. You have a pretty healthy individual. Now, is there anybody walking around that has these all balanced perfectly? Probably not, okay? But we can do the best we can. So, sickness occurs when there's an imbalance in one of these. Could be structural, could be spiritual, emotional, could be biochemical. But that's when we get sick. Today, we're going to discuss this part of the triangle, the biochemistry part of the triangle. So, some of you have heard me do this analogy before, but I think it's worth doing again. What do we do when we have a dirty fish tank and the fish are dying? What do we do?
Clean the fish tank.
Clean the tank. That just seems logical. But
Change the water.
in our culture, we medicate the fish. We don't clean the fish tank. Okay? That's what we do in our society. So what we want to do today, we want to talk about how to clean up the fish tank in our bodies. So why is food so important? The reason is food is information. And when we eat food, it gives our body information to tell it whether it can heal or not, what to do, what it needs to do. If you look at these 2 types of foods, which is the food that's probably given the body the most accurate, best information to get better?
The apple.
Yeah.
The apple. Now, does this look good? It looks really good. Listen, I'm not going to deny that. It looks really tasty, but not very good for the body, okay? Mm-hmm. Food is broken down to vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients. If food is not supplying adequate vitamins and minerals, it actually affects our DNA and makes us sick. So vitamins are very complex organic substances that are needed in very small amounts in the diet. They're essential for human life and metabolic processes, for growth and maintenance and health. And we get them from food. They're an integral part of the mixture, the nutritive mixture interlaced into the food itself. So all pharmaceuticals deplete the body of vitamins and minerals. So let's look at two of them. Broad spectrum antibiotics such as amoxicillin, which a lot of people take, deplete all B vitamins, biotin, vitamin C, and vitamin K. Antacids deplete you of all your minerals, okay? Your body cannot absorb minerals when you're taking antacids, at least very, very difficult. So I just want you to know that when you're taking pharmaceuticals, those pharmaceuticals do two things that are really bad to your body, probably more than two. Number one is they deplete your body of vitamins. Number two is they cause leaky gut, okay? I just read a book by a pediatrician by the name of Minkoff, David Minkoff, and he said all pharmaceuticals cause leaky gut. All right.
Oh boy.
So real food versus processed foods. Foods that are processed, like potato chips or Fritos, they have their vital parts removed. They're lacking in many nutrients. Nutritive shortages cannot be fixed by a vitamin pill consisting of chemically isolated vitamins, which a lot of vitamins that people take are fit into that category, and that's why I carry whole food nutrition in my office. So 70% of the American diet is processed food. If you go around and you look at people's carts while they're shopping, you'll verify that. 60% of the American diet is ultra-processed food, high in salt, sugar, and preservatives. So what is examples of ultra-processed food? Breakfast cereal, soft drinks, frozen dinners, canned soups, pizza, chips, boxed dinners, pasta, processed meats, ice cream, okay? All ultra-processed foods. Processed foods are toxic to normal human physiology. Skin tabs around the neck, as well as bronzing patches on the neck and face, is more common in patients who have a toxic diet. Bronzing on the left cheek is a common body signal of overworked liver, along with lack of whole food vitamin E complex. A study published in JAMA Internal Medicine found the following. This is really interesting. Now, this is in a blue blood medical journal. A 10% increase in the consumption of ultra-processed foods resulted in a 15% increase in mortality. Just raising the amount of ultra-processed foods you eat by 10% will increase your mortality by 15%. Pretty significant. Here's another one. The British Medical Journal showed that if the proportion of ultra-processed food in the diet is increased by 10%, then the number of cancers detected increased by 12%. So we want to get ultra-processed food out of our diet. Is it okay to eat that stuff occasionally? Yeah, it's not going to kill you if you eat it occasionally, but it's not very good otherwise. Refined sugar is one of the biggest components and issues of processed food. Nearly 7 out of 10 Americans being overweight, and 1 in 4 affected with diabetes or prediabetes. The heavily processed standard American diet is definitely in need of an overhaul, and I would agree with that. When I was growing up, 7 out of 10 Americans were not overweight. In fact, most Americans were not overweight, and they've gotten that way. Research has shown that as much as 40% of American healthcare expenditures are for diseases directly related to the overconsumption of sugar. More than $1 trillion each year is spent on treating sugar and junk food related diseases, which runs the gamut from obesity and diabetes to heart disease and cancer. So, really need to watch the amount of sugar in our diets. Is it okay to eat occasionally? Yeah. Now, I go for, in January, and we're in January right now, I do a whole month where I don't eat any sugar, none at all. No sugar, no processed food, nothing like that. I just want to clean my body out really good, clean it up as well as I can. Sugar feeds cancer cells, and look at the types of cancer it's been connected to. Breast cancer, prostate, pancreas, lungs, stomach, ovaries, rectum, biliary tract. The drain on antibody production to deal with these cancers depletes our immune function. Refined sugar and grains also do the following. They raise insulin levels, causing insulin resistance. Elevated insulin increases inflammation and weight gain and the inability to lose weight. Elevated insulin decreases the cellular uptake of magnesium, resulting in increased blood pressure and muscle spasms. In men, elevated insulin hastens the conversion of testosterone to estrogen, increasing weight gain, lowering energy and sex drive, and contributing to depression. So you want to know why there's all these testosterone clinics are popping up. One of the reasons is men just eat too much sugar. You know, and you just look at a lot of men and you can tell that they eat too much sugar. Okay, the proper fats are very important to our health. Okay, so our brain is primarily fat, nerves are primarily made of fat, our membranes are made of fat, and fat and cholesterol in the cells make our skin waterproof. Otherwise, when we got rained on, we'd be like a wet towel, needed to be, wrung out. But that isn't the case. Okay, and it's because of cholesterol and fat in our cell membranes. So what are the essential fats? Omega-6 is an essential fat. It's very pro-inflammatory though, tends to be. Omega-3 we get from walnuts, flax, cold water fish, olive oil, decreases inflammation. Trans fats or hydrogenated fats found in virtually all processed food, including Fritos, are harmful. They raise cholesterol and triglycerides, cause inflammation, heart disease, and cancer. An imbalance in the omega-6, omega-3 fat ratio leads to inflammation. This can be tested by blood work, this ratio. Inflammation is a cornerstone of all disease, and the only oils that should be used for cooking are coconut oil, olive oil, and avocado oil are the three primary things we should use for cooking. Trans fats from fried foods end up in the brain and negatively affect the brain structure, function, and is associated with depression. That's from the Journal of Affective Disorders, April of 2019. So that's right, that quote's right out of a medical journal. Avocado and olive oil are a great source of essential fatty acids, which is why I put olive oil on my salad every night. Olive oil. So I want to get those essential fats. So I recommend the Mediterranean diet. That's my favorite diet, okay? It's high in fish, high in olive oil, low in dairy. And, I don't like dairy products. People are allergic to them. Dairy products generally contain, they're pasteurized, so a lot of the good nutrition in them is killed during pasteurization. And most dairy cows are fed products or food that's very high in glyphosate and pesticides. So that gets into the milk because all that's fat soluble. That's why I don't like dairy. So a Mediterranean diet's high in whole fruits and vegetables. It's low in processed food and grain, low in sugar. So I would make sure that you get regular exercise. We're going to look at that in just a minute. And try and eat red meat from pasteurized cows. Real butter is great. It's high in fat, soluble vitamins, and eat organic if possible to avoid pesticides. Okay, fermented foods are really important for good health. Now, here's some 4 fermented foods: kombucha tea, non-sweet yogurt, sauerkraut, and kimchi. At home, we eat a lot of kimchi. I drink kombucha tea regularly, and I think, in my opinion, that was one of the things that kept me from getting COVID. It's not the only thing, but I drank it regularly, daily. I drink it almost every day, and I really think that was one of the things that kept me from getting it. That and cold weather training outside. So let's look at the 4 potential health benefits of kombucha tea. It helps eliminate pathogenic microorganisms, including candida, which is yeast. It may contribute to optimal gut microflora, may have liver protective effects, may help protect against prostate cancer. So I drink it regularly. I have for many, many years now, lots of years. I make it at home myself. It's pretty easy to make. What constitutes a superfood? Superfoods are readily available, contain nutrients known to enhance longevity, and have health benefits backed by peer-reviewed scientific studies. The term superfood actually was coined in 2004, not that long ago, by Stephen Pratt, author of Superfoods RX, 14 Foods That Will Change Your Life. Now here's a list of superfoods. This list is different. I've seen different things on the list, but this is pretty good. You know, apple, avocado, broccoli, cinnamon, dark chocolate, wild-caught salmon, berries, garlic and onions, extra virgin olive oil. So if you cook with garlic, onions, and extra virgin olive oil a lot, you're getting 3 of them right there. Green tea, which I drink regularly, pomegranates, kale, coconut oil, which I put in my coffee, which I haven't had any in January, but I'll start again in February, and then fermented vegetables. All of these, very, very good for you. And you should consume some of these every day, every single day. Here's some picture of some superfoods, obviously. Exercise regularly. What does exercise do? This is out of the journal Neurobiology of Disease, June 2012. Physical exercise enhances learning and memory. It reinstates brain function. It counteracts age and associated Alzheimer's disease associated declines. It promotes dynamic changes that facilitate brain function. It's a protective factor against cognitive impairment. And the risk of Alzheimer's disease is inversely correlated to the levels of daily exercise, even walking as little as 1 mile per day. So you don't have to exercise a lot to get the benefits. You know, now, I think if you really want to exercise for anti-aging, you're going to have to do more than just walk. I think resistance training is really important as well. And I would recommend that as well as walking. So what are some useful tests to help understand nutrition and dietary needs and disease? Well, there's fasting insulin, and we talked about that. HSCRP indicates inflammation. It's a blood marker for inflammation. Vitamin D, really important. It modulates over 2,700 genes, is important for inflammation, immunity, brain function, and many other health issues. These 3 tests are in my comprehensive blood panel for $299, which is on sale this month and then half of February. It's $299. These are included in that panel. Micronutrient testing for fatty acid balance, vitamins, minerals, and other essential nutrients. another great test because it tests all the vitamins, all the minerals, and the fatty acids, so you can get all of that together. This is a fairly pricey test, but it's an extremely good test. Wheat Zoomer. It tests for wheat, gluten sensitivity, and intestinal permeability. So if you want to find out how well your gut's working and whether you're intolerant to any part of the wheat, Wheat Zoomer is a very good test. I use it a lot in my office. I love the test. Hair mineral analysis can show whether are you carrying toxic metals, what's your mineral status, and it shows things like adrenal, thyroid, and carbohydrate metabolism. So it's also a good test. And the nice thing about hair analysis, you don't need to get poked by a needle. Okay, so good test. We offer all these tests in our office, and like I said, right now we're running a special on our comprehensive blood panel for $2.99. So that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, Terry.
Of course, I got questions. I eat avocados, beets, and I eat grapefruit every day.
Good. You're doing well.
And I don't really get into chips that much. Once in a while, tonight, that's all I had in the car.
We'll forgive you for that, Terry.
Well, you know,
we'll forgive you for the chips, Terry.
I'm diabetic. I eat what I can before I get home, just to stay alive. I was wondering with some of these fatty acids, like they say not too much 6, try to balance it out with 3 and 6. I don't really watch that much, but I probably should. We all should. But I'm going like, well, I'm more of a red meat eater. Fish, I like fish. I'll eat fish and I'll eat seafood as often as I can. And I had somebody approach me today that her cholesterol by her doctor is too high, she says. And she's going like, I can't eat red meat. And I go, well, eat some red meat. No, it's got too much cholesterol, and her cholesterol rating was a little bit elevated. And I go, well, you know, I don't know what your blood test was.
So what's your question, Terry?
My question is it okay to eat, you know, beef, pork, and I eat chicken once in a while?
Yeah, it's okay to eat those things. It's better if you can get them organic or you know, pastured, but it's okay to eat those. You just, you know, you got to balance it out with the other superfoods, with, you know, vegetables, good fatty acids, good fruits, berries, things like that. Yeah, I eat that stuff.
I like fruit. I like grapefruit, apples, all that.
So
bananas.
you can eat that stuff. I mean, you just got to balance it out. And most of the time, when people's cholesterol is getting too high, it's not because they're eating too much red meat. Usually it's not. It's because they're eating too much sugar and too much processed fat.
Okay.
That's the reason.
I will tell her that.
That's the reason. Usually that's the reason. Too much processed fat, too much sugar. So,
but she's going to ask what's processed fat.
Well, then you know because you watch my talk. Okay, so you've watched my talk, so you ought to be able to tell.
Eat organic and eat lean meat. You know, eat everything leaner.
So that's all I have for tonight. In 2 weeks, we're doing a talk called Staying Healthy for a Lifetime. Is that correct? Yeah. So lifetime care, how to stay healthy for the rest of your life. We're going to talk about that in 2 weeks. So have a great and safe and warm evening. I think it's going to be warmer in 2 weeks, so we'll see you then.
I hope you're right.